here, and welcome back to another film review, I guess. I think I'm going to be doing more of these. Today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, a new film which frankly blew me away. So before I say anything else, I would like to implore that if you haven't already, please go check out this film. It's incredible. I genuinely did not expect to be as good as it is, so if you haven't seen it yet, go see it. Don't stop watching. Stop watching, it's okay. You can come back and finish watching later. Just go watch the film, it's really good. So, a Dungeons & Dragons film. When me and my friends first saw this film start to be advertised, we were very worried. We tend to play Dungeons & Dragons, and for those of you who don't know or understand what D&D is, it's a role-playing game where one person dictates a story and the other players dictate characters who they roleplay as. Fairly simple concept. One of my friends has been running a campaign for 3 years now, and we have been, not consistently, but we have been doing that campaign for all that time and telling his story. So, D&D to a whole is a method to tell a story. And when we saw a film branded with the name of a Dungeons & Dragons film, it was confusing, because being able to just say, this is D&D, was a thing that we thought could go very, very wrong. And even watching trailers, some of it looked rather... It looked like it could be a rather cringy film. So, of course, me and my Dungeon Master, my story lord, of course began to speculate little stupid nerdy things about the film, such as attempting to guess the role, the class, the race of each of the characters from just their poster art. That was quite fun. I remember guessing this was a bard, this was a barbarian, this was a fighter, this was a wizard, and this was a sorcerer, and this was a druid. Some of these, completely obvious, and we got dead on. Some, no. To be fair, the line between sorcerer and wizard is a book, so, you know, but the actual way things shaped out was more like this, which is, you know, still fine. But after guessing this, one day we were just out, a bunch of us friends, and we decided, hey, we can't think of something else to do. Should we go watch that D&D film? As a complete joke, we genuinely were just going to see it. We thought it was going to be a funny, bad film. We could laugh at it, and then we could go on with our day. And we sat down in that cinema and had probably my favourite film of the year so far. It was just really good. It was well acted, it was well written, it was funny, it never overstepped. It was just really good. I think one of my favourite things is just from the trailers alone, I assumed that it was going to go with the archetype for the main character in quotation marks, where they were the charismatic lead who was kind of hated by everyone else. And that wasn't wrong, but at the same time, the way that they expressed that was very different. They weren't hated, they were just charismatic, and their plans went wrong, but they were still a group of people who genuinely supported each other. And that's so refreshing. This film overall was just so refreshing. And every part of it just felt fun. I mean, the only criticism I could have is the fact that they bothered attaching it to Dungeons and Dragons. Because yes, of course, it took races and classes and things that were, thought up by Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards of the Coast, whatever. But overall, it didn't really need that attachment. It was just a brilliant standalone film, not coming from any IP, really, just completely unique, and that is a massive breath of fresh air. With the way that films are so oversaturated nowadays, with sequel on sequel on sequel on franchise on franchise on franchise, something new, unique, and individual was just fantastic to watch. Some of the gags that they took were just funny, and that's new. Why were the gags actually funny? What happened? Why have good writers come back? And where did they go for so long? I was expecting witty one-liners for every single activity. They were going to spout out something that didn't make sense, completely ruined the setting, but no. Every reaction was in character, it fit the scenario, and it built on the setting, it built on the environment, it built on suspense. It was really good. I can't stop gushing over how good this film was. At the end of the day, I'm not sure whether I'm disappointed that it was good and I couldn't make fun of it, or I'm just incredibly happy that it was good, and a good film can exist in this era. I think the only other thing which was a problem with it being associated with Dungeons & Dragons was the fact that the main character was, I guess, meant to represent a bard. He used a lute, he played it sometimes, but obviously that's completely fine if it was a standalone film, whereas with the knowledge of Dungeons & Dragons, bards are spellcasters in D&D, so we were expecting something like that, when no, he's just a completely normal guy, which again, completely fine on its own, but since it was attached to D&D, it kind of was a bit iffy, and we were like, oh, okay. But again, like, if it were a standalone film, that wouldn't matter, and it basically is a standalone film. Again, it does not need the attachment to Dungeons & Dragons whatsoever. It had great characters, great character development. In actually all of the characters went through a great change, and you could see them improve and get towards a better self throughout the film. The timid sorcerer who didn't believe in himself became very, very powerful after he actually took the fight to himself and showed himself, look, you can do this. The tiefling druid who didn't trust anyone human learned to do so, and therefore saved them a few good times. And the charismatic main character learned to lean on other people, that not everything will work, and that sometimes things are his fault. It was just really nice to see this group of good characters go through these trying scenarios, come out on top, and come out better for it. And it was just refreshing, it was just brilliant, and I loved it. There's not a whole lot more to say. I know this is shorter, but I can't say anything negative about the film, so there's nothing really to say. Therefore, I think I will leave it at that. Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves was a fantastic film, and once again, I encourage each and every one of you that wants to go and watch it. It was genuinely brilliant, and I hope to see more standalone, standout films. It's just a breath of fresh air. I have mentioned multiple times that the cinema and films overall is incredibly oversaturated with the same thing, and with sequel and sequel and franchise on franchise. So anything new that's actually good is so good. So thanks for watching. That's it. Again, shorter because the film was just great. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening to me say this is good for 10 minutes, and I'll leave you to go watch the film. So thank you very much. Like, subscribe, comment, yada yada, you know the drill. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.
Got the perfect warlock, her weapons and supplies.